A long time ago in, well, right here, a great civilization stood. They were known as the Protheans, and they... wait, no. The Forerunners. No, still not right. The Ancients? Engineers. Zelnaga? Cetra? Progenitors? Precursors? Please do stop me if you hear it. Eternals, Celestials, Titans, Old Ones, Chozo, Architects, Orokin, Magratheans, Guardians, Leviath... wait, I went past it? Oh, Orokin, of course. How could I forget such a fresh and original concept? So, who are these mysterious tropey plot devices and where do they fit into our cozy little Warframe world? Well, my inquisitive friend, I'm happy to tell you that we don't have the faintest idea. Nah, what is this, 2013? We've learned a whole bunch about the Orokin in the past few years, and though they're still shrouded in a fabulous golden poncho of mystery, the puzzle pieces are finally starting to come together. As I'm sure you know, the Orokin were an ancient spacefaring civilization that developed from early humanity. They forged a great empire that ruled over the Origin system and built incredible marvels of technology that dwarf the contraptions of the present day. Sorry, Corpies. They valued art, music, expression, innovation, and perfection above all else, and shaped their entire society around these ideals. On balance, they sound like pretty cool guys, but beneath this elegant facade was a barbaric regime of fear, hedonism, and oppression. In reality, the Orokin were a bunch of vain, elitist arseholes that deemed anything less than their view of perfection as inferior. They saw their lesser subjects as expendable tools to be pushed to their limit and then discarded at their whim. It's just like working in retail. Beneath the Orokin's shiny golden slippers stood a caste system of these lesser beings consisting of the factions we see about the world today. However, beyond this broad hierarchy are specific ranks inside of the blanket term Orokin. In brief, the ranks we know are Emperors, pretty self-explanatory, Executors, pretty much the Orokin Parliament, Sectorus, some kind of high-ranking non-military official, Archimedeans, the boffins in charge of all the science, and Lorists, healers who may or may not be on the same level as Dax soldiers. I'm not quite sure whether they fit in the hierarchy somewhere. Suffice it to say, these guys were total dicks who subjugated the rest of their own species for the sake of comfort. Fortunately for everybody else, for their trouble, they wolfed down a big old steaming portion of just desserts. They even went back for seconds, and even thirds before being supposedly eradicated. The Orokin have left their marks all over the solar system in the form of ruins and facilities that the surviving factions have adapted and expanded, although the largest monuments to their legacy exist on Earth's moon Lua. The moon has been shattered and destroyed for some reason, but it is held together by huge gold structures that stretch across its surface, because of course it is. It seems Lua may have been a central hub of the Empire, as Earth would have been far too polluted to be habitable at the height of their reign. You heard it here first, kids. Fuck the planet, we're going to the moon! Beyond this monolithic base and the scattered ruins, Orokin tower ships exist in the void, perfectly preserved against the ravages of time, and give us a convenient insight into what a fully functional Orokin settlement may have looked like. These towers are filled with hordes of mind-controlled thralls called Corrupted that consist of indoctrinated members of the other factions, forever enslaved to them as guards. Told you the Orokin were dicks. As far as transport goes, the Orokin made use of budget mass relays called solar rails. These rails supposedly worked by moving its cargo into the void, which somehow bent space to, you know what? I have no idea. While the Orokin have all but vanished from the solar system, their technology most definitely has not. All Tenno technology, from weapons to warframes, are based on original Orokin prototypes, which we call primes. These primed artifacts are superior to the downgrades produced today and are understandably widely sought after. Praise unto him who hands out the loot. Let him be generous with his gifts and grant me those Venga Prime gauntlets that I seek so. Beyond these primitive tools lies greater technological marvels, all of which eventually fucked the Orokin over in some sense. We know that firstly the Orokin created the Sentients, a race of adaptive, intelligent robots to explore and colonize outside the solar system. They eventually became self-aware enough to choose their own adventure, apparently the obvious choice being the systemic murder of their creators. Now that's not very Ian Livingstone, is it? Next came the Infested, and I'm fairly certain we all know how that went. I mean, how well is a zombie plague gonna go? Lastly, our heroes stepped boldly onto the scene. The Tenno were the first effective countermeasure the Orokin created and cleaned up the infestation and gave the sentients a jolly good thrashing. As we know, the Tenno and the Orokin had a slightly strained relationship, and they decided to go live with their mum, but not before butchering an entire civilization. I believe that's 0 for 3, Orokin. However, things might not be quite that simple. As we learnt in The War Within, the Orokin are effectively immortal, thanks to the wonders of juicy red kuva, in a process called continuity. It somehow scoops out the mind of a living being and leaves its body behind, empty and ready to receive the awaiting Orokin consciousness. Yikes. Now, when Orden Karras killed a bunch of Orokin in his vicious rampage, said Orokin seemed unconcerned with their demise. There's ergo ipso facto, this indifference suggests to me that the transfer doesn't have to be immediate, which might mean that there are some spoopy Orokin ghosts floating about, waiting impatiently for DE to trudge on with the narrative. I hope they've got magazines in Ghostland. As for who specifically we can thank for all this cheery dinner conversation, we don't have a whole lot of names. In fact, I can only think of 3 that get any usable amount of exposition, and even that is cryptic and incomplete, but I guess here goes. Firstly, we know about Margulis, Tenno handler, researcher, and generally nice lady, who may or may not be Lotus. I say no, that's kind of it. We also know about Executor Ballas, Margulis' lover, and from the sound of it, all-round general prick. He apparently manipulated the Executors to approve the sentience construction, he potentially engineered the Zariman 10-0 instant to create the first Tenno, and he manipulated his girlfriend to weaponize the kids she was looking after for military use. I don't know about you guys, but I am putting some money on there being a hidden agenda here. Lastly, and slightly unrelated, is Sylvana, an infestation researcher who featured heavily in the Silver Grove questline. She had an intense desire to restore Earth to a habitable form, but was pried away from her research by Margulis to aid her in the development of transference technology. Sylvana realised Ballas' intentions with the Tenno and decided to use her new work to aid her in her old. She returned to Earth and merged her consciousness with a small patch of forest in an attempt to curb the pollution with her guidance. This worked out fairly well, as she remains there to this day, helping combat the Grineer's influence. You go girl, green power! So where are the Orokin at right now? After carefully assessing all the relevant data and pondering the infinite possibilities, I think I can sum up the current state of the Orokin in one rude word. I'll give you a clue. It begins with F. Makes you think though, I can't imagine DE would pass up the chance to bring back their mysterious precursor race as a whole new big bad, especially since the sentients have kind of faded into the background a bit lately. I imagine Ballas will somehow still be alive and vow revenge upon the Tenno before bringing back the Orokin en masse in some convoluted string of missions. But as usual, only time will tell. I am drawing a line in the sand though, DE, if it's anything, and I mean anything like the Glassed Gambit, there will be hell to pay. Happy New Year, everybody! Albeit a belated one. Firstly, I would like to thank you all for the support I received last year. It has been absolutely fantastic, and I hope you'll stick around for what comes next. Well, as for what that is, starting this week, I'm going to be doing my damnedest to get a lore video done every week, give or take, you know what I'm like, for as long as I can keep it up. Giggity. These videos won't all be Warframe, but I promise I will keep chipping away at the giant marble block that DE has cagely erected. Giggity. I've also resolved to start doing a weekly stream, which will start tomorrow on Sunday the 15th of January at 7 PM UK time, over on twitch.tv/Salos, with an I. I'm thinking that I will use the streams as a sort of easier way to have a back and forth with you guys about theories and lore and just, you know, like shit that's going on. Be quite nice to sort of build the community up a bit. So I hope you'll come out and hang out over there. That'll be pretty fun. It'll be pretty cool. It's pretty cool. As usual, guys, if you enjoyed this video, you can give the like button a hearty handshake to ring in the new year. And if you'd like to see more of my stuff, you can damn well buy me a drink first. Although I will also accept pressing the subscribe button. Your choice. As always, nerds, this has been Loreframe. I've been Luke, and you have been absolutely phenomenally awesome. Peace out, motherfuckers.